This is Tyler Lewis here with Phenon Hoops. On today's show, we have a very special guest with us, Coach Joe Badgett. Coach, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you having me.
No problem. Coach is one of the best high school coaches in North Carolina, has done a tremendous job at Carmel Christian. He has won 5 state championships, 2 at Northside, 3 at Carmel. We're excited to have him on here today. Coach, how long have you been coaching?
This is going into season 20.
Season 20. So 5 state championships in 20 years. So 1 out of 4 years, you have a ring on your finger. How does that feel?
Man, it's just a blessing, man. Just a credit to the kids, getting good kids in, and they buy into what we're trying to do, and the end result is they get a chance to play for the state. So we've been to 9. We went to 9 straight. So we won 3 straight at Northside. We lost the first year we were there, and then won 3 straight. Lost the next 2 years, and in the state final. Then we went to the state final 3 straight years at Carmel, winning 2 straight. So last year was the first year we didn't make the state final in 10 years.
So man. Well, I know you're ready to get back there this year for sure.
Oh yeah, no question, man. Got a good group. Excited about them, and we'll see if they stay on course. Then hopefully they'll be blessed with the opportunity as well.
Sounds good. When did you first realize that you were going to become a basketball coach?
Well, I mean, I started off. I had a couple of years with some AAU, coached a team with Jeff McGinnis one year. He actually played on the team, so and then I kind of got back into corporate working a lot, so I didn't kind of left it alone. And then probably 2004, 2005, one of my college teammates, Dan Plunky, ran into the Mayor Mint Hill of at Queens Grant Elementary School, and Dan calls me up and say, "Hey, man, we get ready." I told him, "Mayor, we're gonna coach the middle school team." And I was like, "Man, I don't have time to do that." And so I was telling my the company I was working for at the time, and the owner of the company was like, "Well, you're gonna do it." I was like, "Man, I'm not doing it." So he kind of pushed me into doing it, and then we get out there and just being around the kids and seeing that part of it, and from that dynamic, it kind of just like, man, I like this. It's helping the kids, and so then you kind of understand that you're called to do it, so you jump in, and it's been going ever since.
So you said you were called to do it, and obviously you had a great boss because he made you do it.
Right.
But you said you're called to do it. So what is your why? Like, why do you coach? Like,
man, it's just through my faith is help kids, and I've heard that, and that's what God wants me to do, is help kids. So that's what we do. It's all about the kids, and just getting them on the right path. And we've been blessed with the private school sector, being able to actually do a lot more faith-driven stuff by us being in Christian education. So it ties into where it's just a perfect fit for what we want to do. And even when I was at Queens Grant, that's what we were doing. You just couldn't say it per se, but you still use the same biblical principles to get the kids to buy in and roll from there. So that's what it's about. You get the right kids, they buy in and understand what you're trying to do, and it just makes it fun to see them, years down the road. I got probably 7, 8 kids now that played that's been in the program, that their fathers and husbands and things like that. So that's the fruit of the labor, I guess.
No, that's awesome. And you talked about being faith driven, and that's awesome. I'm very faith driven myself. And how does your faith play impact in your life, and how do you carry that over to your coaching style?
Well, it's just, you understand how blessed you are with this game. This game is a very humbling game. But if you look at what competition is, and you look at competition biblically, you can tie it all together and put it into what you're trying to do and coach with the kids, because it's still the same principles, little things like the discipline. Okay, what discipline at us is you take care of the little things and you'll be rewarded the big things. Okay, those are biblical principles that we're on all the time. So we do things like little things. Turn your cell phone in when you come to school every day. Little things. Turn in grade sheets every Thursday. So we have all of these little principles that are biblically based to where we're not necessarily having to beat you across the head with the Bible every day, but we're teaching you those principles, and those principles will carry you through life.
And I know you said they carry you through life, but every great team and every championship team do the little things great. And I think that speaks great on your sake as a coach and a person, because you make these kids do the little things and you hold yourself accountable doing the little things as well. And that's why you're such a winner the way you are. I truly believe that. When did you first fall in love with the game of basketball?
Man, probably, thinking back, probably 76. I remember the first basketball game that I really, really watched and paid attention to was the Celtics and the Suns back in 76. And it was game 5 of the playoffs, and it was the game ended up going into 3 overtimes. I remember staying up and begging my dad all night because it was a West Coast game, and I stayed up all night watching that game, and it was at that point I was like, man, I really like this, and so I just started pursuing. We were already always into athletics, and we had the goal in the backyard on the dirt court and all those different things, but getting really engaged in it was probably back then. You probably you don't even know about that game. You had to go Google it.
I had to go Google it right when we get off the interview, Coach.
Yeah, Hondo.
I don't, man. 76 was a little bit before my time.
I know it, right? So, but yeah, that's when I kind of got hooked, and been at it ever since.
And you talk about watching that game with your dad in the living room. Who is the person that you your role model in your life? Someone that you look up to?
Well, probably my dad. He's a Marine. Lost him in '98. But just the principles that, the competitive nature and the things that he instilled in me and my brother, those are the things that been the driver for us, all the way back to just learning how to compete at a young age. Back in, I remember playing Little League football, first time I played, and my dad had a pickup truck sitting at the top of the hill, and we were out there practicing. They put me in this drill called Oklahoma, and, I'm not a big guy, so I was a real little dude then, and man, I got smashed out there. And so I took my helmet off, slammed it on the field, and walked all the way up the hill to my dad's truck. And he looked at me and said, boy, I done paid my money. You might as well turn around and go back down there. Cry all the way back down there, put my helmet back on. They put me right back in the drill. And, at that point, you learn how to compete, because you don't have an out. And I think a lot of these kids get outs now to where, back when we came up, once you said you were doing it, you got to go. You got to do it.
No, so, that's really special. Really special that you say that. What are you looking forward to most about this year's team?
I think the group this year is a unique group because the pieces fit. And so it's going to be fun to see them gel. They really like each other. We got real good size this year, and even in our size, they play well together. Got a great point guard, 6'8" Ben Burnham, point guard Justin Taylor. Then you got Luke Kroshik, another 6'8" kid. And when you Glenn Bynum Jr., who was a 6'4", 6'5" guard, and then you got 6'7" Cade Tyson. So, and then we got a good group of guys on the bench coming in with Kyle Bean and Bryson Pisacano. These guys are seasoned. I mean, Kyle and Bryson been varsity with us for 3 years, so they played on the state championship team, and those guys are battle tested. Jackson Coffey. Julian Herreras is another point guard that plays on the Costa Rica national team, and this is his second year with us, and a real heady point guard. So we got good pieces, and they really compete every day, and they do it the right way. They go at each other hard, but they knock you down, they helping you off the floor. Those things that you look for as a coach, and to say, okay, it's not a trick you and compete against each other just so I can get minutes.
Yep.
And I think we kind of fell into that trap last year, where so we're gonna compete, but it's more I'm trying to beat you out so I can play. Well, the key to this is learning how to compete. So if you play this hard against each other, you're gonna play harder when you go play somebody else, and then the result will be what it's supposed to be. So that's the biggest thing with this group that we're seeing early, is that they'll really get after each other, but when they play against somebody else, it stays true to form, and they really get after those guys too.
Sounds like these kids that you have are really competitive, like you just brought up, but honestly, they really care about one another as well out on the court. They care. It seems like they care about their teammates more than they care about themselves. They're very selfless out there. And I know you have so much talent, and you talked about it a little bit, but what are some of the biggest challenges that you face as a coach when you have this much talent on your team?
Well, we call it the noise, and getting them to shut off the noise, and that's the biggest challenge. The noise could be anything. Mom and dad telling you need to do this, and your student section pumping you up to go do something else because they watching the game. Worried about rankings, getting real caught up in recruitment. All of that is noise that'll distract and hurt you as a team. So if you caught up in the noise, then you forgot about the purpose of what you're trying to do, and that's be there for your teammate, help your teammate. If everybody do that part, then the rest of it will take care of itself. So that's the thing we kind of harping on a lot with this group, is shut the noise off, don't get caught up in the noise, and live with the result. And so that's the biggest challenge when you have that kind of team. You look at a kid like Cade Tyson, who had I think 2 or 3 games last year at Piedmont where he scored over 40 points. Okay, well, he's probably not going to score 40 with us. If he gets going in a game and he scores 40, then that's fine, but it's not going to be, that's not necessary. But him understanding to get better, I got to compete against Ben Burnham and Glenn Bynum and Justin Taylor every day. And, now my defensive skill sets are a lot better. I can guard the wing and do those type of things. Okay, well, that's an example of shutting off the noise. The noise is you got to go score a bunch of points, and that everybody likes that and all that. Now you're becoming a basketball player, which translates to college. So that's what we're about.
No, I love it. If someone walks into the gym for the first time, they see Carmel Christian, Joe Badgett team being coached for the first time, what are they going to see?
Well, what we want them to see is the competitiveness of the kids, how hard they work, the discipline that they have. And when we say discipline, it's not the coach yelling and screaming stuff at you, is that you understand the discipline as far as not missing rotations and things like that, to where that discipline correlates to basketball IQ. And so those are the things we want people to see: sharing the ball and and different things like that, and just playing hard. I mean, that's the thing. When somebody leaves out and says, "Coach, your kids play really hard," that's the compliment you're looking for.
That is the compliment. I mean, because at the end of the day, you're gonna miss shots, you can do some other stuff, but there's no excuse for not playing hard.
Right.
And I know as a coach, like you should never have to coach playing hard.
Right.
It's just part of the, like, your culture that you already have built at Carmel, that you're just going to play hard. Yeah. And you see that day in, day out. So I totally agree with you there. What is the best team you have ever coached?
Man, that's a tough one. Cause we've had some good teams. 2010, my last year Queens grad, that team was a stud. That was a group of studs. And then 2012, 2014 at Northside, and 18 and 19 at Carmel. I mean, I probably would say my favorite would probably be 2012 at Northside. I mean, that group there was the first championship we won, and we end up playing Davidson Day in the championship game, who was the only team to beat us in the regular season. And, you just had guys step up and do things in the second half of that game that just made that team really special. So I would kind of give them a little edge over the other ones simply because it was new to all of us. Getting to the state final was the second year we got there, but we had lost the year before. And so winning that game and seeing how they won it was pretty special. So I'd probably give them a little edge over 14 and 19. 19 was special too, but it was a real good. We've had some talent, man. We've had some
talent. It's hard to choose.
Yeah.
This next question you're probably going to kill me with too, for asking. But I mean, you had so many great teams, had so many great players. Who have been some of your favorite, not so-called best or in a way, or you can give me your top 5, whatever that you would start. It's fine.
Well, man, with me, it's a little different as far as that, because that question is probably easier for me than trying to pick the best team, because I've always been drawn to the kid that was the underachiever, or the kid that didn't think he was good enough to impact the team, but had a major impact. So a couple names like Greg Mcdonald, 6'8" kid that played for us the first 2 years we were at Carmel. And when first year, I told him, I said, Greg, we're going to get to the state championship game. He looked at me like, man, crazy, you must be out your mind, coach. And so we get to the state championship game that year. And then the next year, his senior year, we win it. And then one of his teammates, a kid named James Gruber, who wasn't necessarily the basketball talented dude, but he was the perfect teammate. He came into practice every day knowing that he wasn't going to play a lot, but he was going to make somebody better. And he wasn't going to back down as far as the way he competed every day, and we still keep up with those kids today. And then, probably back at Northside, kids like Addison Holmes, who, just would come in and do whatever we asked him to do, and ended up getting to play a couple of years of Division II basketball, whereas when he first probably came into high school, he didn't know if he was a college player or not, So those are the type of stories that stand out with me. You always can look at Keyshawn Woods as a special kid as far as, what he brought to a team and team first mentality and all of that. But those are the type of kids that really stand out, that I favor and really touch me to see those kids excel.
These kids been blessed to be coached by you. And how would you describe yourself as a coach, like your coaching style?
Well, I mean, we, starting off with Byron, we started the program at Northside. And even when I was at Queens Grant, Byron used to come and do a lot of defensive stuff for us when we were there, because he was at Wesleyan at the time. But we try to simplify the game to where get the kids to understand how important defensive stuff is, and get them off of quit worrying about your offense. Because at the end of the day, you got a basketball team that's got 4 or 5, or some cases we've had teams that had 9 college basketball players on the roster. So you're going to score in high school. The purpose of what we're trying to do is develop you athletically, spiritually, and academically to where when you get to college, you can survive, because that's a totally different animal. And mom and daddy can't save you when you get there. You gotta have it and be ready to go. And the easiest way for you to get minutes when you go to college is understand defensive concepts, defensive rotations. It can't be Greek to you. And so our coaching style is just defense. I don't get on people I don't say nothing about shots. If you take a bad shot, it was a bad shot. So there's no reason to look at me. I didn't shoot it. So, we look at the defensive stuff, and if you want to get pulled out the game, miss a rotation, we're going to jerk you. Miss a box out, we're going to probably jerk you. So those are the type of things which when you start talking about discipline as a player, those disciplines, you have to have those defensively when you get to the next level. If you don't, you're not going to play. It doesn't matter how well you can score and that stuff. If you can't guard, you're not playing. And so those are that's the style. We try to do a lot of offensively. We try to space the floor and let you share the ball and live with the result. But defensively is where we're going to harp on you and stay on it. I mean, this last, well, I think we're on practice number 11 today. And I think yesterday was the first day we put offensive stuff in. So the whole last week has been defense.
And I know, speaking of like being on practice 11 already, I know you're very lucky because this year is very unique with COVID and everything going on. How unique do you think this year is going to be?
I was having a conversation with my AD yesterday. I was telling Grant, I said, man, this is, our mentality. We're in a serving. This is about serving. That's what we do. We're serving these kids. And I said, and with the COVID situations and the protocols and all of that stuff, it's just added more to you. And so, things can change on day by day, and, contact tracing things can shut you down for a couple of days. So, it's just more that you have to do. But if you're doing it for the right reasons, which is serving these kids, then you just add a couple more things to the checklist and, keep it moving. Because, sometime today I'm going to have to sit down and go through and pull up COVID protocols for this coming weekend's event. So, it's just different things like that. You just got to add to it that just makes it different. But you try to get the kids to understand the sacrifice so that it goes back into them and their sacrifice. So that's what makes it work.
And then my last question to you, Coach, man, you're a big time golfer. I know that. What's your handicap and what's your dream course to play?
Right now I'm playing on a 6.1, so I'm going to shoot 75, 80, something like low 80s stuff pretty much regularly. I've had a couple even par rounds, had a couple under par rounds. So we out there all the time. But back in 1999, I got to play St. Andrews, and I couldn't play. I mean, I was just out there. I got a trip to Scotland. I played St. Andrews. I played Glen Eagles, and I would love to get back to St. Andrews now that I'm a 6 handicap to see if I can really play. So, whereas I can, I remember hole number 14 and the bunker they call the hell bunker is 10 feet deep. All right, well, I hit a ball in there. Okay, well, that's double par. Pick it up, man. We got to go. So, whereas now I can kind of maneuver the ball, work it the right way, stay out of trouble, and and kind of see what happens. I'm not even going to tell you the score I shot on that golf course, but I would like to get out there and see if I can shoot 80 on it now. so yeah, that would be the one. That and probably Pebble, because I've never played Pebble.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today. Like I said, Coach Badgett, you're one of the best high school coaches in North Carolina. And now we all know that you're one of the best golfers in North Carolina right now. So there we go.
Hey, man, your high school coach kicked my behind a couple of months ago up at Jefferson Landing. So you could, hey, that's a golfer. I mean, he probably shot 73 out there that day. So Coach Smith is the man.
Yeah, we all know Coach Smith can play. So yeah. We appreciate you joining us today, Coach. Thank you so much, and good luck the rest of the year.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you having me on, and looking forward to running you guys and see you this weekend.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.